2 years and 23 days ago, I made a video about this. That's the Yeezy 451, and I should have known better because Yeezys never finish in a 1. They always finish in a 0, 700, 500, 350, 380, and now this today, the 450. But over 2 years ago, I thought I was still on the march. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get ahead of the game, make a video about these 451s. And finally, they're coming to us in some form 2 years later, but I had to look back. Seriously, I look back at the video from 2 years ago. I've been doing YouTubing for about 2.5 years, right? So that's right at the start of when I was doing this, and it's awful. It really, really is terrible. It's always been a dream of the channel to grow big enough to get the attention of a store over here in Tokyo, Japan, where I live, and try and get sneakers in hand. That's the whole plan for the channel. So there, of course, there's a learning curve there. You know what I'm saying? But boy, oh gee whiz, 2.5 years ago, though, things were a little bit different. Let's put it that way. I'm shouting at the camera, like really shouting and screaming at the camera. And what I'll do is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. It depends if you're signed in or not, or how you're viewing this on phone or PC or whatever. But there are things called cards, where a little thing pops up here where you can click on the next video and go and watch that. So at the end of this video, I'll put a card back to that original 451 video, and you can see me screaming at the camera, like for just constantly, non-stop for like 6 minutes. It's just it's like a monotone of scream. It's not like a dull, like, it's like a for like 6.5 minutes. So do check out me embarrassing myself 2.5 years ago, because that's important to know. It's important to look at that 451 video and know that this is where the 450s started, because there are a lot of very, very big similarities. Bring back up those 451s, you can see the mock-up here, and then back to today's shoe, the 450s that are actually dropping on March the 4th in a few days time, but only on, is it Yeezy Supply is the place that you can get a hold of these guys. So I think they're going to be hot. I think a lot of people are going to be interested. 2 years of sort of hype and waiting for a shoe to come out. It's a long time. So I think there's a lot of people going to be going after these and interested in these. And today what I'm going to do for you guys is take a look at that 451 that we expected and show you all the differences between that and this 450 and the updates and the changes they've made in the design and the structure of the shoe. So without further ado, let's take a close-up look at the upcoming release of the Adidas Yeezy 450 Bone White. This is the Tokyo Bada 23 Secret Channel. 東京バラ23 Sneaker Channel です。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And I'm having a little laugh because I seriously did watch that video back of me doing the 451s 2 years and 23 days ago or whatever it was. And I say some of the stuff that I say now, like, this is Tokyo Bada 23 Secret Channel, and毎日アップするので. But I'm just, you have to watch it to understand. So I'll leave that. I'm not going to go back to that video. Let's forget all about that and just get into what we're talking about with this shoe today. So a little bit of history. Here's the 451s, the mock-up of them, what people were expecting. Basically on that shoe, the big feature was that kind of spines. I don't know if I can call them spines or not, but the way the midsole and the outsole wrapped around and these spines came up onto the upper in a very heavily exaggerated way. So having a look at today how that translates into the actual shoe that's going to drop is going to be a big deal and a big part of the shoe. And like I say, 2 years ago, that was everybody was like, whoa, where are they coming from with that? That's a crazy looking shoe. And finally they're coming into production. So what I'll do is I'll quickly show you here what they were planning. Which never came to pass, was some of the colorways for the original 451s, and hopefully somehow you're seeing these guys here. It's possible that some of these guys will make it into actual 450 territory, and you can see sort of the way that the design would make sense, and the colorways that are shown on the screen right now would give you that kind of, the update on the 450. They would work, for want of a better word, on the 450s. So and that's what, where the history was, what the plan was for the shoe. But like I say, it never came to pass. All we got was this. It's this is the best one. I call it the light blue. It might have a different name, like the sky blue or something, but it's the best mock-up that we have, and I think it's the best shoe and the best picture to use to compare to what is actually coming down the line, these bone whites right here. So so what we're going to do is go bit by bit and look at that. So I want to look at the top line, I want to look at the upper, I want to look at the spines that I talked about on the side, I want to look at the outsole and stuff like that. So first things first, let's have a zoom in on this. I'm going to go to the 451s and show you the top line on there, and you can see the top line line, it actually has a function of the materials that are used in the upper, and because the materials that they had planned to use in the 451 were more synthetic, and then the materials that they are using in the 450 are more prime knit, then they have to go with a different top line. So we're on the 451s, and you can see that top line is very sleek and sort of uniform on there, but then we come forward to today's shoe and you can see there's a definite sock effect. In fact, it feels an awful lot like an Ultra Boost uncaged, if you ask me. I've got 3 pairs of Ultra Boost uncaged from the sort of 1.0 through 4.0 era of the shoe, and the sock kind of effect on the top line there, because they're uncaged, they don't have that much support, so you need more support from the prime knit. So that sock effect up there brought into this 450, so that's one of the details. And again, that upper, so we'll pan down a little bit from that top line and get towards the upper, and hopefully I'll find a picture either by panning or a different shot of the shoe that gives you a look at that prime knit weave in the upper. And then if we come back to the 451s, you can see again zoomed in on there, that synthetic kind of feel to it. I don't want to say mesh though, I think it's even more solid than mesh. It would be something like Flywire if it was a Nike. So you can see how kind of uniform the upper used to be, and then on the actual drop it's going to be that knit, prime knit material that you usually get with some of the highest quality Adidas in the last, I don't know, 5 years or so. And then we're getting into those spines that sort of wrap up from the side, but the spines are a function of the outsole. And what I want to do before we do anything else is have a look at what the previous 451 outsole would have looked like. And it was projected to look like this. And the main thing that I want you to take away from that picture is the segmented effect that runs through the shoe with these sort of rectangles that run the length of the shoe, maybe 5 or 6 of them, I don't know how many there are. But then if we flip that out to the outsole on these 450s, you can see it's a much more uniform effect. That sort of big, chunky, segmented feel of the 451s is gone, and it's a very sleek effect that runs front to back with a consistent tread in the whole shoe. Now, because of that, it changes the way that the spines wrap around the side of the shoe. So if we're going to have a look at the lateral of this bone white, you can see also that there's more of a curve in the outsole, which doesn't make sense because of the way your foot hits the pavement or the floor and the way your tread runs on that. So you've got more of a curve wrapping that outsole, that uniform, consistent outsole that runs the length of the shoe, and that causes the spines to sort of curve towards the middle of the upper instead of being a more kind of parallel, kind of uniform effect that's going on as those spines go up around the side of the shoe there. So so it's much more of a curved shoe. It looks like it's much more of a wearer's shoe instead of being just for design and for fashion. And the way that outsole plays into those spines on the shoe is probably one of the major features on the updates on it. But the biggest update for me is this right here. Here's the, I'll go with the 451s first, and you see what the lacing system looks like there. And it's very discreet. It's almost like the quantum basketballs, the way that the laces are hidden within the upper. And then we jump forward to the 450s, and you can see the lacing system. And the eyelets are very much pronounced, very much off the shoe, very much visible. You can see the way that the laces would thread their way across the top of the shoe and hold the shoe together, hold it to your foot. So it's a major departure in those terms, and probably really the two major departures are that lacing system and then panning back from that to get to the top line and that sort of sock effect that's very much elasticated that would hold it to your foot much more effectively than just your standard sort of construction of the upper. So back out, I'll flip it back and forward a couple of times between the 451s and the 450s and give you an idea, sort of looking in comparison between those two shoes. And you can see the slight differences, especially in materials, and then a little bit of difference in the construction. And then finally back to the 451s color board, where you can see 4, 5, 6, I think it was 6, maybe 8 different colorways, which we can maybe now think about in terms of what they'll look like on this 450 silhouette, and how they could maybe transfer across and bring it. These shoes are coming out, like I said, this bone white is March 4th only on Yeezy Supply, but wouldn't mind betting that that's going to be the start of the 450 line as they try and push this a little bit further. Question is though, are big chunky shoes still the thing to buy, or is that kind of fading away in this more sleek shoes? If you look at the 380s, for example, much more sleek than the sort of chunky effect of the 350s. So who knows if these 450s are going to fly or not. I'm kind of guessing they will, at least for a little while, because it's something new from the Yeezy line. A quick word about that actually though is neither adiprene, which you'd see on 500s, or for boost, which you see on most but not all Yeezy shoes. So questions about what's going on in the midsole and on the padding and the soft end, the bottom half of the shoe. So things to look out for. Enjoy having a look at the shoe. I hope you appreciate my take on it. Much better than I did 2 years and 23 days. Go. It really is a video. I have to remind myself to put up that card so that people can go and jump across to that video and see where I was 2 years ago, and see hopefully on that video or this video people can leave a little comment that tells me that I've done a good job of growing as a YouTuber in 2 years. Fingers crossed. And maybe people will drop a comment like, actually I preferred the 2 years ago shouting at the camera Tokyo Butter 23. So with that being said, I'll leave you with that card. Hopefully it's up there if you're not in the right kind of media to watch that. If it's PC or phone or iPad or whatever and you can't see that up there, just check out the 451 Yeezy video. You should be able to find it pretty easily. And with that being said, it's time for me to just sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content. I truly appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed this kind of double look at two different shoes, the 451s and the 450s. And that's a great way to finish the video. So I'll just wrap it up. Thank you guys for checking it out, and remind you that I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.